The moment HOA President Patricia Harrington slammed bolt cutters against my gate and screamed for the cops to arrest me for stealing community water, I knew the neighborhood Karen had finally lost it. Red and blue lights painted my driveway like a cheap crime drama, while she clutched her precious clipboard like it was the Constitution. What she didn't know? My family's pool and half the land she ruled over had never belonged to her little dictatorship in the first place. I'm not the kind of guy who goes looking for fights. 22 years fixing fighter jets for the Navy taught me one simple rule: respect boundaries, yours and everyone else's. So when I retired and moved back to the old family place on the edge of Serenity Pines, all I wanted was quiet mornings, strong coffee, and the same backyard pool my dad poured by hand back in 1975. 10 acres of unincorporated land, grandfathered before the subdivision even existed. No HOA paperwork, no monthly dues, no Karen telling me what color my fence could be. Just peace. The kind you earn after decades of taking orders. The first few months were heaven. I'd wake up to the sound of the filter humming, walk barefoot across the deck my dad built, and watch the sunrise turn the water gold. Neighbors waved from a distance, polite but distant, like they were scared to get too close. I figured it was just small-town stuff. Then one Saturday, the welcome wagon rolled up, 3 smiling faces in matching polo shirts, clipboards gleaming like badges. The woman in front, Patricia, though everyone called her Trish the HOA enforcer, tilted her head like a bird spotting a worm. "Morning. We're just here to make sure everything meets community standards. Your pool looks lovely, but we'll need to schedule an inspection for safety compliance. It's for the children, you know." Her smile was so tight it could cut glass. I wiped grease off my hands and met her eyes. "Appreciate the thought, ma'am, but this property's never been part of Serenity Pines HOA. Deeds older than your association charter." Her smile didn't move, but her eyes did, cold calculation behind the fake warmth. "Oh, everyone says that at first. Don't worry, we'll get it sorted. Here's the binder with all our guidelines. Grass at exactly 2.5 inches, mailboxes in Serenity beige only, no visible pool equipment. It protects property values." She shoved the glossy book at me like it was holy scripture. I didn't take it. "Respectfully, I don't need it. Check the county records. Lot 17 predates everything here." They left, heels clicking like little gavels, but the looks they shot back weren't neighborly. That night, the first courtesy notice appeared in my mailbox. Unauthorized water feature visible from street. Requires immediate HOA inspection. Failure to comply. $50 daily fine. And signed, of course. Just pure bureaucracy dressed up as concern. I laughed at first. Laughed harder when the second notice came citing excessive splash noise and demanding I install an approved, tranquil teal liner because my dad's classic blue tiles apparently offended the collective eye. Black humor at its finest. Karen worried about my pool color while the whole neighborhood lived in fear of her lawn police. But the laughs died when the whispers started. Neighbors who used to nod now crossed the street. My buddy Dave from 2 doors down suddenly lost the ladder he borrowed. At the mailbox cluster one morning, I overheard Trish telling a group, "He thinks he's above the rules. Probably hiding something in that pool. Illegal irrigation, who knows?" Heads nodded like bobbleheads. America, land of the free unless your HOA president decides otherwise. I stayed quiet. Documented every letter, every glare, every time her silver SUV slowed past my gate. Installed a couple of cameras, legal, pointed only at my property. Let them think I was weak. Patience is a weapon they never see coming. Weeks turned into a siege. Fine stacked, $75 for non-compliant gate latch, $100 for visible garden hose, $150 because my American flag was apparently 2 inches too tall. The total hit $4,000 before I even blinked. Then came the drones. Little buzzing community guardians hovering just over the tree line at dusk, cameras panning my deck like I was public enemy number 1. One night, I stepped outside with a flashlight and caught the red recording light dead on. The thing jerked upward like it had been slapped. I smiled into the lens and waved. Night vision doesn't lie, Trish. The neighborhood turned into a cult. People started measuring their grass with rulers, actual rulers, because Trish's weekly compliance walks left yellow violation tags on anything that dared grow a millimeter too long. One poor lady got fined for her kids' chalk drawings fading on the driveway. Aesthetic harmony, Trish called it. I called it clown world with better landscaping. Still, I kept my cool. Fixed the old deck boards, oiled the hinges, planted a row of cypress to block the street view. Every evening I sat by the pool with my dad's old notebook, logging dates, times, license plates, drone hums. Evidence doesn't yell. It waits. Then one Sunday the bolt cutters came out. I was pouring coffee when the metallic snap cracked the morning quiet. Not loud, but wrong, like a bone breaking. I stepped onto the porch, and there she was, Trish Harrington, crouched at my pool gate in broad daylight, bolt cutters in her manicured hands. Two board members stood behind her filming on their phones like it was a TikTok challenge. The padlock my dad installed in '78 lay in pieces on the gravel. Emergency safety inspection, Trish announced, voice syrupy sweet, but eyes wild. Multiple complaints about your non-compliant pool. We're authorized to act in the interest of the community. I kept my voice even, phone already recording. You're trespassing on private property. That gate says it all. She straightened, wiping sweat that definitely wasn't from the heat. You've ignored every notice. This is for everyone's good. Think of the children who might wander in. One of the board guys shifted uncomfortably. Trish, maybe we should. Quiet, she hissed. He's been laughing at us for months. Time to show him who runs this neighborhood. The drone above her head whirred closer, red light blinking like it was enjoying the show. I held my phone higher. Smile, Trish. This footage is uploading straight to the county sheriff's cloud. Bolt cutters on private property? That's not inspection. That's felony trespass with intent. Her fake smile cracked like cheap porcelain. You wouldn't dare. The board will bury you in paperwork until you beg to join. I stepped closer, calm as a Sunday drive. Paperwork's cute. Try reading the fine print sometime. My land was never yours to police. She lunged for the gate anyway, but her board members grabbed her arms. Trish, he's recording, one whispered. She shook them off, face purple, and dialed 911 right there. Officer, there's a dangerous homeowner obstructing community safety protocols. He's threatening us. 10 minutes later, the patrol cars rolled up. Blue lights spinning, neighbors peeking from curtains like it was the season finale. Trish pointed at me like I'd murdered the HOA mascot. He's refusing inspection. He cut his own lock and blamed us. The older deputy looked at the bolt cutters still in her hand, then at the broken lock on the ground, then back at her. Ma'am, you want to run that story again? I handed him the folder I'd kept ready for weeks. Officer, original 1978 deed and county plat map. Property predates the HOA by 7 years. Never annexed. Everything south of Creek Road is unincorporated county land. And I've got video of her cutting my lock. He flipped through the pages. His partner read over his shoulder. Trish's face went from purple to ghost white. That's an old document. Our bylaws updated jurisdiction years ago. Deputy raised an eyebrow. Updated how? County records show nothing. Step away from the gate, please. For the first time, Trish looked small. But she wasn't done. She paced while the deputies talked to dispatch. This man is a menace. He's been spying on the neighborhood with cameras. We were just protecting everyone. I almost laughed. Black humor at peak. The woman who sent drones to film my underwear line now crying about privacy. The deputy closed the folder. Ma'am, unless you've got county paperwork proving jurisdiction over this parcel, you're the one trespassing. And destroying private property with bolt cutters? That's a crime report. Trish sputtered something about property values and the children before storming to her SUV. The drone followed like a loyal dog. But the damage was done. Neighbors watched the whole thing. Whispers shifted from "he's the problem" to "wait, is Trish actually crazy?" That afternoon, the county assessor showed up unannounced. We walked the property line together. He pointed at my dad's old survey stakes still buried in the dirt. Pre-1980 marker. Your parcel was never part of Serenity Pines. Their entire common area map is garbage. I nodded. So the clubhouse they built behind the mailboxes? He checked his tablet. Technically on your land too. They've been collecting dues and throwing pool parties on property they don't own for 30 years. The smile that crept across my face wasn't angry. It was the slow, cold satisfaction of a man who'd waited months for the other shoe to drop. By Monday, the audit was official. County letters went out demanding every plat, survey, and amendment the HOA ever filed. Trish tried damage control, mass emails calling it a witch hunt, blaming one bitter homeowner. But the evidence was stacking faster than her fines ever did. My lawyer, a no-nonsense guy named Morales who'd handled veteran cases for years, called laughing. Their president signed off on a fake boundary expansion that was never recorded. They built their whole rec center on your grandfathered land. That's not oversight. That's squatting with extra steps. I sat by the pool that night, water rippling under the floodlights, and felt the tension finally break. The same water my dad said would always be ours no matter what. Turns out he was right in ways even he couldn't imagine. The sheriff returned with commissioners and a court clerk. Trish arrived in full armor, polo tucked, clipboard ready, but the second she saw the official envelopes, her shoulders dropped. The commissioner didn't waste words. Mrs. Harrington, Parcel 17 and the community lot marked as your headquarters are legally titled to Mr. Callahan's family. You've been operating on land that was never transferred. Trish's voice cracked. We maintained it for decades. That counts for something. Maintaining someone else's land without permission is called trespass, ma'am. Collecting fees on it? That's fraud if the audit finds intent. The room went dead quiet. Even the drone outside seemed to hover in shame. The injunction came fast. All HOA operations frozen. Accounts locked. Fines against me voided. And when the final audit hit the local news, Serenity Pines HOA dissolved over fraudulent land claims. Trish's for sale sign went up the same week. Her house sold in 3 days. She left town without a goodbye party. I kept the broken padlock as a souvenir. Polished it and hung it on the new brass one with a little plaque. Private property. Public respect. Then I did something I hadn't done in years. I invited the neighborhood kids over for a swim. Their laughter echoed off the trees while a few parents stood awkwardly at the gate, finally admitting they'd been scared of Trish too. One mom whispered, "We thought we had to follow her or lose our homes." I just nodded. Fear disguised as community. That's the real HOA special. The courthouse smelled like old paper and victory. The judge read the order dissolving the entire association. Trish sat rigid, lawyer whispering useless comfort. 10-year ban from any homeowner board, fines that would sting for years. When the gavel fell, it sounded like freedom ringing. I walked out into the sunlight and drove straight home. The pool shimmered exactly as it always had, blue, honest, unbothered. I sat on the edge, feet in the water, and thought about my dad. He built this place so we'd never need permission to be happy. Turns out the best revenge isn't loud. It's quiet paperwork that outlasts tyrants. So here's the real question, folks. Was Ryan wrong for quietly documenting every violation and letting the law do the heavy lifting? Or was Patricia just another entitled HOA Karen who finally got what power-hungry tyrants deserve? Who really owns your neighborhood? The homeowners or the clipboard warriors? Drop your verdict below. Was it justice or just karma with better paperwork?